World Wildlife Day celebrates the beautiful and varied forms of wild fauna and flora and to raise awareness of the multitude of benefits that their conservation provides to people. At the same time, World Wildlife Day reminds us of the urgent need to step up the fight against wildlife crimes and human-induced reduction of species, which have wide-ranging economic, environmental and social impacts. Each year, World Wildlife Day is celebrated on 3rd March, the day of signature of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora in 1973. World Wildlife Day 2022 was held under the theme Recovering Key Species for Ecosystem Restoration to raise awareness of the state of endangered and critically endangered wildlife and to highlight the power of conservation efforts seeking to preserve their fate. Leading up to the year when the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework is expected to be adopted, drawing attention to the status of some of the most critically endangered species of wild fauna and flora and their role in ecosystems sends a powerful message for urgent commitment. The theme also highlights the impact of conservation efforts and promote best practice examples where species were brought back from the brink. And it will drive discussions towards imagining and implementing new solutions to conserve and sustainably use others.
According to figures by the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List of Threatened Species, over 8,400 species of wild fauna and flora are critically endangered, while close to 30,000 more are understood to be endangered or vulnerable. Based on these estimates, it is suggested that over 1 million species are threatened with extinction. Continued loss of species and degradation of habitats and ecosystems threatens humanity as a whole, as people everywhere rely on wildlife and biodiversity-based resources to meet all their needs, from food, medicines and health to fuel, housing and clothing.
The celebration seeks to draw attention to the conservation status of some of the most critically endangered species of wild fauna and flora, and to drive discussions towards imagining and implementing solutions to conserve them. All conservations were inspired by and seek to inform efforts towards the achievement of UN Sustainable Development Goals. 1. No poverty. 2. Zero hunger. 12. Ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. 13. Climate action. 14. Life below water. And 15. Life of land.
Wildlife refers to the undomesticated animal species but has come to include all organisms that grow or live wild in an area without being introduced by humans. Wildlife was also synonymous to game, those birds and mammals that were hunted for sport. Wildlife can be found in all ecosystems, desert, plains, grassland, woodland, forest and other areas, including the most developed urban areas. All have distinct forms of wildlife. While the term in popular culture usually refers to animals that are untouched by human factors, most scientists agree that much wildlife is affected by human activities. Some wildlife threaten human safety, health, property and quality of life. However, many wild animals, even the dangerous ones, have value to human beings. This value might be economic, educational or emotional in nature.
Wildlife conservation refers to the practice of protecting wild species and their habitat in order to maintain healthy wildlife species or populations and to restore, protect or enhance natural ecosystems. Major threats to wildlife include habitat destruction, degradation, fragmentation, overexploitation, poaching, pollution and climate change.
Wildlife conservation is the practice of protecting plant and animal species and their habitats. As part of the world's ecosystems, wildlife provides balance and stability to nature's processes. The goal of wildlife conservation is to ensure the survival of these species and to educate people on living sustainably with other species. The human population has grown exponentially over the past 200 years to more than several billion people today, and it continues to rapidly grow. This means natural resources are being consumed faster than ever by the billions of people on the planet. This growth and development also endangers the habitats and existence of various types of wildlife around the world, particularly animals and plants that may be displaced for land development or used for food or other human purpose. Other threats to wildlife include the introduction of invasive species from other parts of the world, climate change, pollution, hunting, fishing, and poaching. National and international organizations like the World Wildlife Fund, Conservation International, the Wildlife Conservation Society, and the United Nations work to support global animal and habitat conservation efforts on many different fronts. They work with the government to establish and protect public lands like national parks and wildlife refuges. They help write legislation such as Endangered Species Act (ESA) of 1973 in the United States to protect various species. They work with law enforcement to prosecute wildlife crimes like wildlife trafficking and illegal hunting that means poaching. They also promote biodiversity to support the growing human population while preserving existing species and habitats.
Wildlife Protection Act 1972 is an act of the Parliament of India enacted for protection of plants and animal species. Before 1972, India had only 5 designated national parks. Among other reforms, the Act established a schedule protecting plants and hunting certain animal species or harvesting these species was largely outlawed. The Act provided for the protection of wild animals, birds, and plants, and for matters connected other with or ancillary or incidental threat. It extended to the whole of India.
The celebration of 68th National Wildlife Week is observed all over India from 2nd to 8th October 2022. The main objective of this campaign is to promote the conservation and protection of animal life. It teaches people about the animal life and encourages them to save a large number of animals by not killing them for their own food or by other purpose. This week is celebrated because wildlife play a crucial role in maintaining the ecological balance of nature. Any harm to it can pose threat to the entire ecosystem. Thus, it becomes important to preserve flora and fauna.